We're so proud that they have named this Raider Hall. We take great pride, and we're very humbled by the fact that the Marine Corps still feels that we've got a place.
The Marine Raiders were formed in early 1942, at a time when America was on the defensive in the Pacific War. They were the nation's first guerrilla warfare troops and are frequently referred to as America's first special forces.
They were the first ones to do amphibious operations from rubber boats. They were launching from submarines. They were coming off of destroyers. They were landing in places that were unexpected by the enemy, by the Japanese during World War II.
They made us keenly aware that the Raiders were a special group. We were cocky as could be. Now, burying your first dead takes care of the cockiness. But we were still as confident as anybody could be.
The Raiders' job was to take the fight to the Japanese in the Pacific. To move, as Marines have done throughout their history, toward the sound of the guns.
It was the first move back to roll them back up the string of islands that they had taken. It was the first really step on the way to Tokyo.
The Raiders went into Tulagi, and they fought at Guadalcanal. One of the great fights in Marine Corps history was Raiders Ridge, Edson's Ridge, in September of '42. Against a whole brigade of Japanese who were pretty good jungle fighters. It was a hell of a fight. It went on for 2 nights. The Raiders held. And so they were legendary.
By 1944, the tide in the Pacific War had turned, and the Marine Raiders were no longer needed. They rejoined regular units, ending a brief but glorious chapter in Marine Corps history.
We realized, even though we were 17 and 18-year-olds, that if this thing wasn't won, the world was going to be a very, very different place. It was really to preserve our way of life, and that sounds a little corny, but it sure wasn't. We figured that any day we ever lived the rest of our lives was a bonus, because anybody that got in and out of the Raiders and made it really was a lucky man.
The Raiders' legacy is indelible with the Marine Corps. It goes back to the warrior ethos and the Marine Corps culture. We always take care of our own. We never leave someone behind. The Raiders went before us, so we're not going to leave them behind. And their memory will definitely live on much longer than they will.
Hey, get off the damn net. Comanche 1 is 6. Yeah. LT! Comanche 1-6. Hey, Comanche 1! Pick up your damn radio! Catch up, let's go!
This is our training facility out here for units to come to
Give me more rounds!
before they deploy out to Iraq.
Stay in condition 1, stay in place!
And to immerse them into what they're going to be fighting against over there. We try to make it realistic for them here before they go over. That way they get a taste of it. They can learn from their mistakes here.
Back down! Get out!
The Marine Corps Combat Center occupies nearly 1,000 acres in the Mojave Desert, making it the largest Marine Corps base in the world. Each year, roughly 1/3 of all Marines come here for training to increase their combat readiness.
Hey, you're in the open! Why are you walking?
This is where Marines take part in live-fire combined arms training.
How do you think your range went today? What does he need to be doing? He needs to be looking down the range to see where his rounds are impacting, right? The purpose of it is to get the infantry guys used to calling in their fires and moving under those fires with the fires going down the range. A couple times today it was not happening. If you look down the range, you see trenches 1 and 2. The 2 objectives on the western side. And off to the east, they got what we call the center objective. And they got the company maneuvering down range, medium machine guns. They got 81mm mortars. They got heavy guns supporting their attack. Just kind of like their last stop shop. Every unit before they deploy, they come out here and get the training. Even if you do not have ammo left, deceive the enemy, make him think that you've got ammo left.
This is money right here for the Marine Corps.
pop open the lid.
It's actually putting into play a lot of the things that are going on in Iraq right now, and this is real good training that's going to help all the Marines, and it's going to bring more of them back.
All right, that's all I got for you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Go.
Marines also get training at 29 Palms in urban warfare.
This is Range 200, also known as Wadi al-Sahara.
The Marine Corps has reproduced an Iraqi village in the California desert.
We try to put as much realism as we can into it. You'll see burned out vehicles, concertina wire, rubble all over the place.
A unit training at 29 Palms will likely deploy to combat within months or even weeks. A unit training here is typically a mix of Marines on their first combat assignment and combat veterans.
I mean, you can tell them all the stories, but just being there is going to be a totally different experience, and something you'd have to experience for yourself to know what it's like.
Come in. Right. All right. That gives you two things.
We got a lot of new Marines that just came to us, so I want to make sure they get the best possible training before we do head back.
Don't give them a chance, gents. Come on.
To make the training realistic, role players are used in the exercise. Some play friendly villagers. Others play insurgents.
It's not a regular war that we're fighting. You don't know who the enemy is, and you don't want to stereotype people just because of who they are. So it does make it a lot more difficult.
He says, what sort of college are you going to do? He says, you guys destroyed the whole country, now you destroyed my house?
Let him know our chain of command will pay for anything broken in this house.
There's a lot of situations that come up where you're not going to be able to engage, and you don't want to engage because we don't want to harm innocent people. And what we're focusing on here is the skills that the Marines need to be effective on the urban battlefield.
Urban combat is not new for the Marine Corps.
Urban warfare, in my judgment, is the dirtiest of all warfare. I was a company commander, as an example, in the Battle of Way City in Tet of 1968 during the Vietnam War. It's dirty because it's all very close and personal. It's not just the environment, which is closed in, great noise, dirt, debris, shrapnel, etc. But it's also a very close personal contact with the enemy. And then the carnage that's there. Urban warfare is difficult.
It is a grisly business. I think especially of the two battles of Fallujah in 2004. First Fallujah was a tough fight. Second Fallujah in November 2004 was probably the toughest combat that U.S. forces have seen since the Vietnam War, almost certainly the toughest combat since things like Way City in the Vietnam War. It was really ugly. It was brutal. It was nasty. It was the essence of the grittiness of war.